Welcome to the SVG-TV news for Monday, September 25th. I am Khalil Kato with the details. On Saturday, Prime Minister Dr. Gonzalez addressed a general debate at the United Nations General Assembly in New York. In his address, Prime Minister Gonzalez told the high-level gathering that across the world today, in large measure, many women and men are pained and adrift, perplexed, even confused at the complexities and challenges of our human condition, which is awash with multiple contradictions from which arise a yearning for sustainable resolutions.
Numbers of people globally are possessed of an admixture of resignation, a sense of futility, a routinization of indifference, even cynicism. And yet, at the same time, there is resident in them, in us, an elemental hopefulness and a sense of social solidarity, a search for justice and goodness, a pursuance of equity and equality, and a quest for peace, security, and prosperity for all, not only for a privileged few in a handful of privileged nations. It is widely acknowledged that the global political economy is broken and needs fixing, not by tinkering here and there, but through fundamental restructuring of a kind that endures for the benefit of all humanity, especially those who are disadvantaged, dispossessed, or marginalized.
PM Gonzalez further told the gathering of world leaders that it is also widely acceptable that the vital Sustainable Development Goals, which will not be attained by 2030, as there will be a significant deficit for practically every developing country. He said similarly, it is widely recognized that the climate change agenda is stalling and in some respects reversing, with dire consequences for humanity in most of the vulnerable countries.
The expansive and expanding list includes racism and xenophobia, the continuing oppression of women under a patriarchy in too many countries, the seemingly uncontrollable chariots of artificial intelligence, the threatening pandemics and the anti-people consortia of big pharma, poverty and food insecurity, ignorance, miseducation, and disinformation, terrorism and its associated malcontents, the illegal trafficking in persons and narcotics, the subversion of participatory democracy and human rights, the failure and/or refusal of former colonial powers to entertain just and legitimate demands for reparations, to repair the contemporary legacies of underdevelopment caused by native genocide and the enslavement of African bodies, and the failure and/or refusal of the major emitters of greenhouse gases to cough up the requisite resources to the affected vulnerable countries for the required adaptation, mitigation, loss, and damage. And the list goes on. The heard melodies are troubling. Those unheard are damning.
The Prime Minister also noted that powerful countries and blocs of like-minded states are unwilling or unable to fashion inclusive and efficacious modalities through a genuine multilateralism to address the challenges facing humanity.
There reflects actions in quest of a continuing imperium or an emergent hegemony are dressed up as self-serving calls for a new world order, all sauce and gall, but of little or no substance, difficult to swallow. From the rough trenches of the periphery, St. Vincent and the Grenadines poses yet again, in response, three haunting questions. What's new? Which world? And who gives the orders? In this context, the urgency of genuine reform of the United Nations Security Council is to be embraced after decades of futile bickering and foot-dragging. Surely it is long overdue for sensible compromises on this matter, reflective of the contemporary condition of our world. In these troubled and uncertain times, enveloped in limitations and weaknesses, there are nevertheless possibilities and strengths. The wise and mature leadership of this collective, the United Nations, is immediately required in this great endeavor to put things right for humanity. We gathered here as representatives of national or regional interests are not and cannot reasonably be agents of purely impersonal forces driving humanity inexorably to further peril and even damnation.
Prime Minister Gonzalez has been insisting as part of the discussion on the SDGs that there must be a special carve-out for reparations from European countries for the legacies of underdevelopment engendered by native genocide and the enslavement of African bodies, horrendous crimes against humanity. The revamped SVG Reparations Commission is expected to be formally launched next month as part of SVG's Independence Month of celebrations. Chair of the commission, Adrian Odell, who was on NBC Radio's Face-to-Face program today, said at the launching event they will introduce the new commission members and the advisory board to the public.
Are they in place already, or we're still looking for members for those committees?
Well, the posts have actually been filled. We just have to work on confirming everyone and making sure everyone is still aboard.
It's a big launch, or just a soft launch as it relates to getting persons to know exactly who is involved, what exactly are the plans?
Well, it's not, I wouldn't want to label it as something small, but because of the nature of the commission, it will indeed be something significant. We'll be able to introduce the members and those on the advisory board, because it's important for us to know the faces behind the commission. So we don't just want to have the existence of the commission, but we need people to know who is doing the work behind it.
On the importance of reparatory justice, Odell, who is an attorney at law, said it should for the descendants of persons who would have been carried across the transatlantic slave trade.
Now, the reason I say this is because a lot of persons tend to believe that slavery was so long ago, why should we bring it up again? Why should slavery enter the conversation? Now, when we look at the slave trade and we truly examine the loss of life for uncompensated labor, we look at the loss of liberty, injury, mental pain and anguish that persons would have suffered, we must bring reparatory justice to the forefront, because none of these things have actually been addressed or fully compensated for.
Okay. And I understand that there's a big launch, so to speak, of the commission coming up soon. Tell us a little bit about that.
So the commission will formally launch sometime next month, which is very timely. And what we're aiming to do is to introduce the commission members as well as the advisory board that would accompany the Reparations Commission.
Odell noted that over the past few weeks, a number of newspapers in the UK reached out to him to discuss the issue of reparations.
What I've basically done is to put reparations at the forefront in those countries, especially the UK. They would have been one of the biggest beneficiaries of the transatlantic slave trade. Apart from that, meeting with the British High Commissioner, we would have discussed the plans of the Commission and how the High Commissioner would be able to assist. He's willing, which is very, very significant, as we usually don't see the willingness from the UK to assist, especially once the topic of reparations is on the table. Now, he can't act outside of his civil appointment by the UK, but he will do whatever he can. He has assured me that he will be able to assist in any way possible. And right now, he has put forward that he would be able to assist with communication to the different UK government departments.
Okay. And are you in dialogue in terms of other commissions that are set up around the Caribbean as it relates to reparations in different countries? Or?
Yes, all of us are connected, because this is not an individual movement from any one country. It has to be a united fight that we are putting forward, and without unity, we will definitely not be able to make even a dent in the fight for reparation.
Farmers, fisherfolk, home gardeners, and persons providing farm labor services within the agriculture sector are being reminded to apply for assistance from the SVG Food Insecurity project, which is being implemented by the government through financing from the World Bank as the deadline approaches. Interested persons are asked to complete and submit their application forms with supporting documentation, which is farmer's ID, national ID, NIS cards, and proof of land ownership or tenure, that is deed, lease, or rental agreement, by Friday, September 29th. A news release from the Ministry of Agriculture says agricultural and fisheries officers can aid applicants with completing their forms, which can be obtained from all regional agricultural offices, extension officers, the Fisheries Department, and the Ministry of Agriculture's head office at Richmond Hill, Kingstown. Eligible investments which can be applied for include home gardening, livestock and poultry, crop production, and fisheries. For more information, applicants are urged to contact the Ministry of Agriculture or the Economic Planning Division. At a sum of $10 million, the SVG Food Insecurity Project is funded through the overarching regional program Unleashing the Blue Economy of the Caribbean, UBEC, under its Contingent Emergency Response Component, CERC. The project aims to mitigate the negative impacts on SVG's agricultural and fisheries industries, which have been caused over the years by the April 2021 volcanic eruptions, the COVID-19 pandemic, the Ukraine-Russia war, climate change, tropical storms, and droughts. The project's objectives include increasing food production and availability to residents and the growing visitor population, improving economic and physical access to food by vulnerable groups, improving productivity, resilience, and sustainability of the SVG production system, and improving the quality and competitiveness of fish, fruits, and vegetables through targeted food safety investments. The four components of the project are Component 1, crop production, to build production capacity to increase the supply of fresh fruits and vegetables. Component 2, livestock production, to increase the supply of animal protein through investments that will increase productivity and reduce days to market. Component 3, fish production, to expand the capacity of fisherfolk through investments to harvest in deeper waters, indirectly reducing the strain on nearshore resources. And Component 4, project management, to ensure effective implementation, monitoring of activities, and evaluation of the project. The project is being implemented by the Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry, Fisheries, Rural Transformation, Industry and Labor, and the Economic Planning Division in the Ministry of Finance, Economic Planning, and Information Technology. Excuse me. Tomorrow, Sandals Resorts St. Vincent and the Grenadines will host a job recruitment drive at the Kingstown Baptist Church from 8 a.m., which will end on Friday. At a meet and greet event today, Managing Director of Sandals Resorts Management Limited, Winston Anderson, said over the last 2 weeks, the company has embarked on identifying the management team for Sandals SVG.
And so we have been interviewing and continue to interview the management team. And starting tomorrow, we have an open job fair. And this job fair includes every single category. So butlers, club sandals agent, front office, chefs, landscapers, steward department, bartenders, restaurant, admin, sales, weddings, every single department in the hotel. We invite and look forward to seeing there.
Anderson said persons applying for the various positions being offered should not be worried about experience or skills, as the development of their human resources is one of their main priorities.
One of the things that makes us very, very special and different is that we spend an enormous amount of time and money in the development of our human resource. We believe strongly that our greatest asset happens to be our people. And it's not just something we say, but it's something that we actually invest a lot in. So, to our friends out there who may be wondering, do I have the experience? Let me say to you that our motto is if you have the right attitude, if you have the passion, that will, don't worry about the experience. Because the level of training, the level of exposure that you are going to get will ensure that we give you the skills. And one of the things that also I would really have to share with you, because there's so many of us, including myself, who is a product of that, is that with us, it doesn't matter where you start.
Renelle Cato, a Vincentian working with Sandals Resorts for years, is now the cost controller of Sandals St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Here, Cato shares her experience working in St. Lucia for the Sandals company.
Standing here, just waiting and ready to be back home to welcome my fellow Vincentian on board for an amazing company that I'm working for. I remember going to St. Lucia, starting off as a Club Sandals agent and just waiting. As they normally would say, get your foot in and let the rest take a toll on it. And I got my foot in. I got recognized for my attitude, my work ethics, and also my qualification. And I went from front of the house to now running back of the house at Sandals Regency La Toc in St. Lucia. I've had the opportunity and still going through where I worked at the Tree Resort there, learning so much and just obtaining all of the knowledge and the skills that I am receiving over there to compile it and bring it onto my shows here. So there's not much I can say more than seize the opportunity. Anyone that is out there who is questioning yourself, who is double thinking, stop. And I look forward in welcoming you tomorrow.
Persons seeking jobs through the Sandals Resorts Job Fair this week are asked to take along their qualifications, resume, passport size photo, and references. While artificial intelligence, or AI, has its disadvantages, it can be very beneficial to small island states like St. Vincent and the Grenadines. This is according to IT consultant Charles Burke, who was on the panel of SVG-TV's Viewpoints program last night, discussing the topic, how does the use of artificial intelligence impact a small society such as SVG?
Another benefit, St. Vincent and the Grenadines and other small states, island states, could benefit from it. You could have improved productivity by using AI, using certain tools. You could increase productivity. Your healthcare system could be improved by creating tools that could help in healthcare. Your education system and training system could also be improved. And I later on, I probably draw your attention to some of the ways in which these tools are being used, because I actually did some research. And generally speaking, in insecurity, in all areas, we could use AI to benefit the country. And basically, certain tools could be developed that could make work easier and make work more professional. If you develop an application that could do certain things in a structured way, it will be done that way and improve productivity in whatever area you use it, whether it's in health, education, tourism, any area. You could basically improve productivity.
Artificial intelligence is the ability of a digital computer or computer-controlled robot to perform tasks commonly associated with an intelligent being. Head of the St. Martin Secondary School IT department, Petrus Gums, elaborated on what AI entails.
You have an application, maybe on your phone, maybe that you use every day, because we have been interacting with AI throughout our life. AI has been around since the 1950s, right? It's just getting a new breath of life in the past couple of years, but it has been around a while, and you get to understand as you go along. So machine learning is where you have an application where you give it enough data or enough content that it could start predicting, it could start analyzing, and it could start, talking like if it's someone else speaking to you. So if we want to take it down a little bit in terms so that everyone can understand, if you have your email, let's say your spam filter. Your spam filter is a form of AI. If you have emails coming in from a newsletter, you will notice you keep telling it, this is spam, this is spam, this is spam. And over a period of time, you start getting that email in your inbox. It goes straight to spam. So that system learns. If you're using Google, the Google search engine, and you type in, and based on what you've been typing over a period of time, you will notice that that search engine on your application, start giving you suggestions as what it thinks that you want to type for.
Ophthalmologist and AI enthusiast Dr. Kenneth Onu says while it will benefit SVG, there is still a lot to worry about when it comes to artificial intelligence.
So it's what you put in is what you get out. The part to be worried about is if somebody puts in the wrong things in, then you can get the wrong things out. We've seen examples of that where they have what they call biased algorithms, where the computer or the AI is trained to recognize white people as doing something more superior and black people as being inferior. Because maybe a white person who might have been a racist or maybe didn't know what they were doing typed in things and fed it such data that it then discriminates. That is those are the things we want to worry about. I mean, those are things that are of huge concern. And then you also have cases where people could use it to weaponize. Automated AI, because you can automate it, you could be here and in Alaska, you could press a button and set off a bomb or a drone that will kill people over there. So those are the things that people are worried about, misuse and abuse.
Coast Guard officers from the member states of the Regional Security System, RSS, including those here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, are now said to be better positioned to effectively assist in the prosecution of asset recovery and money laundering cases. Over 174 officers were recently engaged in a two-day training workshop hosted by the RSS Asset Recovery Unit and its Regional Maritime Office. During the exercise, Director of the Asset Recovery Unit, the ARU, Keisha Sutherland, said that the RSS ARU operates on the principle that crime does not pay and pointed out that through the training, officers will be made aware of how they can prevent criminals from financially benefiting from their activities. Sutherland said that financial crimes, such as illicit trafficking, are done with a profit motive, and the topics covered, such as money laundering and cash seizure, will help to aid in bringing the fight to the criminals. The ARU head said that it was necessary for all areas of law enforcement to work together to ensure that perpetrators were not successful in their illegal crimes. She pointed out that the work and engagement shows that the fight crime effectively, and all of law enforcement approach must be embraced and coordinated, which requires building and enhancing capacity in all aspects of law enforcement that touches and concerns the national crime fighting strategy. International Peace Day was recognized worldwide on Thursday, September 21st. Grade 6 teacher Crystal Primus of the Lomans Windward Anglican School said that it is important to celebrate International Peace Day within the school system, as it helps to promote positive behavior among students. In a telephone interview with SVG-TV News, Primus speaks on the International Peace Day celebrations at her school.
Also assists with important issues such as conflict resolution, good communication, and respect. Also, in a world where crime is very rampant in today's society, it is necessary that we steer our children in the right direction by fostering an environment where peace can reign in our country.
Noting that we live in an impatient world, Primus encouraged students to have a great relationship with their peers.
Respect for all and being peacemakers, not only on International Peace Day, but every day. As it relates to other teachers and principals, I would remind them that they should be examples of what peace looks like. Therefore, they should model and promote peace in the schools every day and heighten the importance of maintaining peace and being peaceful on International Peace Day. Our aim was to simply promote peace among our students here at the school. We had two activities slated for that day, the first being the creation of peace rocks, where the students painted the peace sign on rocks, or they painted words that were related to peace on their rocks, such as love, compassion, respect. We also had a second activity where the students were asked to create peace poems, and these poems were shared among students at the school.
Here's a snippet of peace poems done by the students of the Lowman's Windward Anglican School in celebration of International Peace Day 2023.
To the peace of always be kind, to do right by others. I pledge to the peace of integrity. I pledge to the peace of love to everyone.
I pledge to be kind. I pledge to be kind. I pledge to be respectful. I pledge to be caring.
Peace is caring. Peace is caring. Peace is kind. Peace is kind. Peace is love. Peace